All right, well, it's a pleasure to talk to you again.
And you
And
as well.
Mr. Nelson, you've been an author, a musician, actor, TV personality, and through all of it, you pretty much claim that the secret to your success was never actually being famous.
Yes.
So I'm probably telling you nothing that you don't already know when I say that not a whole lot of people know about Riff Tracks, including people that were fans of your popular show, Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, that's it's good to hear. It's hard to know what sort of impact you're making and who you're reaching when you're just a little corner of the internet.
Right. You know, I didn't find out about Riff Tracks till 2008. That was 2 years after you launched the site. I found out about it by mindlessly clicking on video after video on YouTube one night, and I came across a clip from the Titanic that featured Bill Paxton, and he uttered the line, "Are you ready to go back to the Titanic?" And then this disembodied voice chimed in and said, "Or are you going to cough up the money?" And I said, "Well, wait a minute. I know this. This is very familiar." So that's how I found out about it. So for those people here at comicbookmovie.com who might not know about Riff Tracks, why don't you tell them a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, we started because of things like doing specials on Mystery Science where we got to make fun of little bits of Titanic, and over the years people kept saying, why don't you do the whole movie? And it's like, well, we don't have the rights to Titanic. That may shock you.
Mm-hmm.
So, once the technology came where a person could roll their own at home, an MP3 and their own DVD, we launched it, and it worked well. And then since then we branched out, and now we've got stuff that you can stream, we've got stuff you can download, we got the whole package. We still have the MP3s, we have shorts and everything, but that's sort of the genesis of it. We want to be able to do pretty much any product that people think would be funny and that we think would be funny. So we're able to now.
And so now these are just MP3s that people will download. They can sync up with any movie that you've riffed on.
That's right.
Okay. So Mystery Science Theater was canceled in 1999, unfortunately, and Riff Tracks was launched in 2006. So why the 7-year delay when it's obviously your preferred medium?
Well, during that time, I wrote books. I did some TV pilots. I worked on a lot of other projects. I wrote some scripts for other people, and during that time, it was always sort of trying to get something going with Kevin Murphy and Bill Corbett, who we just always worked well together, and we were still around in the same town. So, but I had done some work for Legend Films, just doing solo commentaries, sort of a different style. But they liked what I did, so I moved out to San Diego to start working for them, and wasn't really sure what I was going to do. And then kind of the idea for Riff Tracks, which had been around for quite a while, really. We talked about it all the way back in Mystery Science, was just, now that we can do it, let's start it. And so as soon as I could, I brought Kevin and Bill on board.
So you're saying that during that 7-year period, it was really a priority for you to return to that style of commentary on movies, and as soon as you were afforded the opportunity, you did.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. If you were given the chance to do another Mystery Science Theater 3000 show or something like it, would you, or are you just comfortable now with what you're doing?
I'm pretty comfortable with this. I mean, one of the problems with doing TV, and especially probably doing it now, it's even harder. Back then, it's just the genesis of how we got the show made it easy for us to maintain autonomy, because we started out so small, and no one was paying attention when we were doing it, so it just kind of developed into what it was, and it's tougher to change that for an executive. But if I went in and pitched a new show, that it's just very unlikely that anything close to what you started with would end up on screen. And I've been through that process. I've been sort of halfway through it. I've been a quarter of the way through it. I've been almost all the way through it many times. It's just very frustrating, and this is something that is tried and tested, and we do it and we enjoy it. And so I just see no reason to go for TV just so that you can say, I don't know, I'm on TV or whatever.
All right, so you're comfortable. I'm just going to throw this out there anyway, though. As much as I like the on-demand aspect of Riff Tracks, there was something special about having to wait a week. to see an episode. It did make, absence makes the heart fonder.
Well, we could artificially withhold them from you.
Yeah, that would be good. All right. Is there any chance we'll ever get that iconic movie theater silhouette superimposed over a movie on the RiffTrax player? Because that would complete me.
We could mail you a physical one where you could just sort of paste it to every screen in your home.
Like a plastiform?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, yeah, but seriously, there's no chance of us ever getting that silhouette with you, Kevin, and Bill with your heads bobbing up and down, pointing and laughing while the movie's going?
I really doubt it. I mean, one of the aspects is this is the reality of the way things work. I believe that is a copyright too
It is. Okay.
That I don't own. So so that's why those things can't just be sort of taken.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that the silhouette itself was copyrighted. All right. I used to think that Mystery Science Theater 3000 commented upon only B movies with the sci-fi horror slant because they were kind of easy prey. Later I found out that you didn't have the licenses for them for the more popular movies because they were a little too expensive for the show to afford. Besides Roadhouse, was there any other big budget movies that you really wanted to feature on Mystery Science Theater but couldn't?
Well, we never were even able to get in the same galaxy as some that we wanted. Like, there was a Leonard Nimoy movie, hardly a sought-after movie that we wanted to do, and we were all excited. We just thought it would be fun and really, really fun for the fans of all that crossover of sci-fi and all of that. And they wouldn't let us have it. It was, I don't know, what did it cost? Like $11 instead of $6 or something. So we didn't even bother to go for anything big. Yeah, it just wasn't available.
Right. All right, well, I mean, I know you have a fascination with the movie Roadhouse, but what Roadhouse is to you, the movie Predator is to me. So I was really happy when I found out about your solo riff on that movie.
Yeah.
But I was also really surprised when one of my favorite scenes of the movie rolled by. It's that scene during the rebel camp pacification sequence where Arnold kind of leaves the safe cover of the trees and meanders into that camp that's still crawling with dangerous rebels, and he just kind of very casually and aimlessly cracks off a few rounds of the machine gun, almost as if it's nothing more than an afterthought. It looks like he's just chasing geese away.
I'll have to go back and look at that moment.
I was really hoping you'd put your own spin on that.
We could always take another shot at Predator with the three of us. Yeah, there's a few we'd probably go back after. It was only logistics that I did them by myself. So I think we're certainly thinking about Roadhouse again. I mean, I know it's. I've talked to the other guys into liking it over the years, so it wouldn't be a burden for them to do it. So I think we'll probably try to revisit that.
Yeah, I have my own little secret Swayze movie that I was ashamed to admit that I liked for years. That was Dirty Dancing.
Oh yeah. Our friends Janet Varney and Cole Stratton did that one. That's good fodder.
Yeah, he's such like a moping little clodhopper in that movie. All right, so I purchased Mesa of the Lost Women. I think that was your most recent on-demand video from RiffTrax.
Yeah, we also have added Curse of Bigfoot since then.
Oh, that's right. I've yet to get that one.
Mutant with Wings Hauser is highly recommended.
Mutant with Wings Hauser. Well, it gets a little expensive doing RiffTrax every night, so I got to pick and choose.
I understand.
But anyway, there was a scene in the Mesa of Lost Women where the giant spider's hairy leg sweeps across the scene, and I think it was Bill Corbett. He yells out, "Ah, it's Khloe Kardashian." Now, I could be wrong, but I don't imagine that you, Kevin, and Bill go home after a long day of working and settle in with an episode of The Kardashians.
You have correctly surmised the situation.
Right. So do you feel in your element when you make those kind of relevant pop culture jokes, or are they just kind of wedged in there by possibly young writers working at RiffTrax in an attempt to keep the riff relevant?
No. I mean, you can't help it when you work in this medium. We spend a lot of time, sadly, on the internet, and so internet memes and a lot of internet trash and fodder like it or not, come across our desks.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't happen at all. That's the other thing. It doesn't happen so much. I sort of get the secondary effect of everything because I don't watch TV. I don't have. I mean, I have a TV, but I don't have TV. You know, I have Netflix and I have other ways, obviously, to access stuff. But I don't generally. I watch movies.
Right.
But you just want to make sure you're not completely missing something that your audience may be missing. So you sort of it's really not hard. It's like soap operas. I used to say you could stop watching a soap opera for 5 years, go back and watch one episode, and you go, oh yeah, I'm up to speed again.
Yeah. Okay.
Pop culture is not that hard to keep in touch with. And if we didn't know about something, I think you really have to be careful not to make a joke about it and end up feeling quite foolish. So sadly, we do know about these things, but obviously not intimately.
Okay, well that leads into the second half of the question. Okay, yeah, you know about these things, but would you say that you deliver those kinds of jokes with the same pathos or conviction that you would say a car hitting a fruit stand joke?
Well, I mean, you always look at, you're trying to find the funniest things. I mean, I don't know that you connect with, I mean, one of the things we always are looking for is like, all right, who's our go-to really, really old person? Because, you have to have that to complete a punchline sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Or so there's a lot of situations where, you craft it with someone in mind who may or may not. It's just like what fits the situation best is what we're always trying to do.
Right. So, okay, so that kind of leads into my next question here. Does Riff Tracks even have a defined demographic? And if so, are your jokes tailored toward them, or do you guys just say to yourselves, well, as long as somebody gets it, it'll be good enough because, after all, there's something in there for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, you try not to go too far afield where, like, you think, there's no way to quantify these things, but is only one person out there getting this, then maybe we should broaden it a little bit. I mean, you try to be, I like the comedy to be somewhat generous without being pandering, and you try to hit that sweet spot, and you may miss it a lot when you're doing 2,000 jokes or whatever. But, we can do something like Twilight, which we all love and have grown to love, not on its own, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but for us, and I don't feel at all like we're, let's do this thing because it's this is what the kids like. And like, no, I mean, when we first screened that, we have to like the product that we're doing for our purposes. We're not going to force ourselves to do something that both doesn't work for us and that we don't care for. And we embrace all of this stuff as, this works really well for our purposes, and so we quite enjoy it.
Right. Basically, you're telling me that there's not a room at the Riff Track studio filled with 14-year-old girls and boys with holding buzzers, seeing whether or not the Justin Bieber jokes test positive.
That's right. Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, once we started doing the Twilight, we were happy that it did open up a different fan base, but maybe those people only watch the Twilights. That's fine. I don't, you can only do where your source of humor is and what makes you laugh. And I would be lost immediately if I tried to do something that didn't. We did High School Musical too, which, and that one is, it's not going to capture any Mystery Science fans at all. But we did it because we screened it and thought it was funny, and so there's definitely like